our lads, and we all had kids. Love, Dad.
Welcome to Love Dad. This is a podcast where one rookie father and one grizzled veteran try and figure out how to be better dads. My name is Jeff Ulrich. I run things here at Earwolf, and I had a baby about 3.5 months ago and decided that I would love to document the process of learning about how to be a dad. If nothing else, then give my daughter something to laugh at me about 30 years from now. I am joined by my co-host, David Keckner.
A.K.A. Grizzled Veteran. I became a dad 13 years ago. We have 5 kids. Our oldest boy is 13. We have a daughter that is 10. We have twins, boy-girl twins that are 6. And we also have a little girl that's a year and a half.
Eve, baby Eve.
Baby Eve.
So you have 5 kids,
5 kids
over the span of 13 years.
I'm grizzled.
You are approaching 50 years old in August.
Yep.
And you and I met, well, not met, but we had started talking backstage at UCB when I was a brand new 2-week-old father.
Yep.
You have this generic reputation that precedes you as being a father within the comedy community, so I approached you.
I have a generic reputation in comedy. It's like, yeah, it's Atlanta. Loud.
Everyone's like, Dave's got 5 kids. So yeah, I approached you and I said, what advice do you have for me? You gave me some advice and we can get into another time.
Here's the thing, folks. I love giving advice. I think most guys do. If you ask a guy for advice, you're like, well, I'm suddenly an authority. I'm in here. And if you don't take the guy's advice,
well, luckily you actually have good advice.
That was good advice. It was something I read, Google will have a Google quotes of the day or something like that. And what I read that struck me was this. It was from Michelangelo, depending on your arrogance. Genius is eternal patience. Now, when I first read that, I thought, oh my, that applies to being a father.
Right.
Because it really takes a lot of patience.
Right.
And I thought that's the only way I could really be the best dad I ever want to become. It also applies to our careers in show business, because you've got to be patient.
Absolutely.
We want everything right away. In Hollywood, nothing happens quickly.
No.
So, but it's certainly applicable to being a father.
Absolutely.
And a husband. And someone who drives in Los Angeles.
So we had a great chat, and it got me thinking, and I emailed you and said, hey, would you be interested in joining me on this journey of trying to figure out how to be better at this thing?
I.e. a podcast. And I toyed with the idea, folks, of doing a podcast. There's a lot out there, and there's a lot of great comics doing it. And I thought, I don't know what I want to give voice to. And I thought, oh, wow, that's great. I certainly love talking about being a dad, so why not?
Well, and we've talked about this. There's not a ton of information / support for dads. There's a lot of stuff from others.
A community, fellas.
A community, exactly.
Where you go, hey, me too.
And I just love the idea of you and I kind of trying to discover things together, taking each other through the journey of being dads. And hopefully that will connect with people who are listening and can feel like they're not alone in the struggles of going through this.
Right. And if I can give comfort to any father or potential father out there, would be this. You're not going to do it right.
No. Not every day, for sure.
Not every day. I think, to me, the desire to do it right is the greatest one to have.
Right.
You're probably not going to get it right, but if you have the desire, at least you're heading the ship in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to just quickly set up our show.
You have headed the ship. My grammar, folks, you're going to have to really just forgive.
That's right. We will forgive, Dave.
Thank you.
So our general show is going to be Dave giving a clean joke of the week that you can tell at the dinner table.
Yep.
Something that our society is greatly lacking.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to accept voicemails and emails and maybe answer a few questions from you guys, our listeners. Then we're going to get into the meat of the show, which is going to be a topic every week. It's probably going to be something that we've either pre-selected or maybe a challenge that we had during the week that we want to bring up and discuss and talk about what we handled right about it, what we did wrong, and figure it out.
Maybe to anger people, I'll tell a cute story. Here's what my kid did.
Yeah. And our website is going to be filled with pictures and videos of our children. Yeah, you can go there for that. And then we'll end the show with a tool or a tip of the week that hopefully will get you 1% better at being a dad.
Can I run it further and go, we're going to give you an illumination.
An illumination sounds way sexier than a tip or a tool. And
I'm trying to bother guys a little bit too. I hated the illumination. I'll use it, but I hate the word.
we're going to try and keep this around 30 minutes because this is a show by dads for
Come on,
dads.
fellas, you
And we
don't
know
have
how
time.
busy they are.
You don't have time.
And we're going to try and keep it clean with the language so that you can listen to this in mixed company.
Try. You
Try.
said try.
Yes, we will do our best. So, without further ado, why don't you set us up with our first clean joke of the week?
Clean joke of the week. You can tell this at the dinner table, and you can share it with other dads if you'd like to. Why was the math book so sad?
Why was the math book so sad?
Because it had too many problems. Come on.
That's good. We're even getting a smile out of Brett.
I know, that was he really did not want to smile. And it hurt his stomach a little bit, and I get it.
He's sitting there thinking, why did I sign up to work for a comedy network? So let's get into the first kind of discussion point, which I think a great place to start is you and I just kind of sharing the answer to why did we have kids. It'll help people get to know where we're coming from, and it's a good jumping off point for wherever we want to go from there. So I'm going to kick it off,
Great.
and I'll talk about why I had Arden. My daughter is 3.5 months old. My wife and I have been together now for 5 years. We were getting older, and we knew that we did want to start a family, but we really struggled with, I think what a lot of people struggle with is when is the right time with our career? When are we going to be able to have a place, an apartment or a house that can support a family, and especially financially, how are we going to do this?
Mm-hmm.
Things are expensive in LA in general, but when I did the math on rent,
Yep.
insurance, including for the child because we have to pay for all of our own insurance, and food, it was $52,000 a year after tax.
That's just to run the house.
That's not. Not
That's
no internet,
surviving.
no TV. Yeah.
Wow.
No gas, no car, no phone. I'm talking those three things.
Wow.
Insurance, rent, and food.
Wow.
So that's like $75,000 pre-tax
Yeah.
a year.
Mm-hmm. He's talking about Los Angeles. It is very expensive to live down here.
Yeah, and insurance when you don't have a regular job and you have to pay, it's $1,700
A month.
for the three of us.
I don't know
And
how
it's not
anybody. I don't know how anybody is anti healthcare. Call it Obamacare if you want, but it's called the Patient Protection Act.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
affordable, right? Was it called the
Affordable
Patient
Health Care Act.
Yeah. So anyway, they're just trying to help you. It'll be interesting today to find out in a year if your insurance rates will go down when you're able to shop more.
Well, and the thing too is it's not even just about the rates; it's about the coverage.
Mhm.
Which even at $1,700 a month, our coverage is really poor.
Criminal.
And
That's
you
criminal.
get to a point where you even consider just doing the kind of catastrophic thing
Yeah.
and then just saving the money yourself. But with the
You're
child,
not going to save the money yourself. You're not going to.
well, I would. I
Okay,
am very.
you would, but no one is going to have a healthcare savings account. That's just, when they talk about savings accounts for, your retirement, all that, people just don't do it. If you're not forced to, they don't give you the tax break. It just doesn't.
Right.
Most people are just surviving.
Yeah.
So
you're looking at all this
what I
stuff.
call an anomaly.
I am an
All right.
anomaly.
So you're looking at this stuff. You're thinking about kids, having kids. You're putting the figures to it because you're a business guy.
Yes.
Most people don't approach it with as much logic and detail as you do.
Probably not.
You're a very analytical person.
Yes. To a fault.
Or to illumination. But it's good. You know what you're doing. It's good planning. Planning is a good thing. So you're putting the figures to it, saying, honey, can we do this? Now, you said, why do you have kids? First of all, when you were courting, as my dad would say,
Right.
your now current spouse, your wife, did you guys talk about having kids?
We did.
And you both said, we want kids?
We both said we want kids.
And how big a family are you from?
It's just me and my sister.
Just the two of you? All
And
right.
she has two sisters. But I come.
Wait a minute, sir.
Yes.
Just you and your sister, and she has two
Sorry,
sisters.
my wife, Darlene, has two sisters.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
That part was left out.
Sorry.
All right. I'm a listener. I just want you to know I'm listening.
Yeah.
So you and your sister, And your wife has 2 siblings.
Correct.
As well.
Yes.
So she's from a family of 3. You're from a family of 2. I just want people to know that I'm very good at math. That's a total. All right. So you grew up with a sibling. So did your wife. And so did that add into your idea of whether or not you're going to have kids?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the family dynamic that we both come from was a little bit different, but it still led us to the same place of we wanted to have a family. Then the question is when, and the question is how, and also, do we have one? Do we stop there? Do we have a second?
Right.
You know, that
Right.
whole thing.
You opened up the can and worms
The
came
can.
out. So while you were dating, courting, you did discuss kids. I want kids. Do you want kids?
Yes.
And you're like, yeah. All right.
Absolutely.
Now here's the thing. The question you asked earlier. Why?
I personally believe that there's some combination of a biological urge to procreate
Right.
/ ego. You get into this. For me, anyways, you get into a place where you feel like you can help out by raising a solid child,
Right.
you know, and it's very, like I said, it's very egocentric. It's very, I can do this pretty good compared to some people that I've seen, and I want to help the world be a better place.
Right.
I know that sounds fairly crass.
Well,
but
I will tell you that those are both the things I was thinking about. 2 reasons. One is ego. I want more of me.
right,
And 2 is I believe it's genetic.
Right.
We need the
Right.
idea to propagate the species.
agreed.
Yeah.
And so we agreed to do it, and we were both getting older. That was
Right.
the thing. You know, right
Right.
now I'll be 38 in 6 weeks. My wife will be 38 in 2 months. So all the
We're both Virgos, if you're listening.
we are
folks,
Virgos.
So
yes, that's it is what it is.
we're
Deal with it.
analytical. Yeah. Big deal. Did you hear it? Deal with it.
But you get to a point where you just and everyone talks about this. There's never a good time to have a kid. Your career is never going to feel like it's in the perfect place to support doing it. If you're a woman,
Yep.
when do you take 3 months off? If you're a man, how do you have more time to spend at home?
Right.
You're never going to have enough money, no matter where you live or what your situation is. You're never going to be younger and
Right.
healthier.
Right.
So
I just want to suggest this. That is the majority of thinking. You're never going to have what you want. But the thing is, too, you have the freedom to think we're going to have as much as we want.
Mhm.
This is a perfect time.
right,
And because we usually think opposite of that. I don't know why, but people do. Now there's never a right time. Yeah, there is. There is a right time, and the time is now. That's what I think of the decision you make.
Right.
So this is not a bad time. This is a great time.
Right.
And I just want to say this while we're on this topic,
Yeah.
if I might go off
You
for
might.
just a second. With all the people having difficulty with pregnancy these days, I'm going to suggest to you it's only in your head. What happens is, first of all, I want to say that I heard this years ago, and the adage has been true for me every time: babies bring money.
Mhm.
And if you believe it, it happens. I swear to God, every time I had a baby, money came in the form of a job, not the lottery, stuff like that. But I always got a good job with each new child. It just happened.
Mhm.
In show business, either you're on a series or you're not, or you're always looking for work, or work just keeps coming one way or the other. You get a movie here, there, or you're waiting for a movie, you're waiting for a part. Every time I've had a child, a job came quickly thereafter. With my last one, within 2 days, I was in New York doing a stand-up special thing. I mean,
Mhm.
it just always, and then within 3 weeks of that, I had another job. So for me, the thing I love to believe is babies bring money. The other thing that people do right now, there's an immense business in fertility, and I believe it's this. People have this thinking of I can't do it. It's not the right time, and so then they when they do want to get pregnant, they can't get pregnant because their mind is convinced their body they can't do it. And listen, the body listens to the instruction it's actually getting, which says I'm not ready or I don't want one. And then people go through these expensive fertility treatments, and this happens time after time. They'll have a fertility treatment, they do all that, they have a baby, and then they get quickly pregnant thereafter. I've seen people adopt, and because they try it for years to have a baby, they adopt, and then boom, they have their child
Right.
naturally.
Right.
So I would say, folks, if you want it to happen, it's going to happen. Let it happen, and tell yourself it's going to happen. And then you've got to find out whatever's blocking it, because you are. I mean, unless there's a true physical thing that's going on,
Right.
which is actual, and that happens.
Right.
But a lot of times, there's really nothing in your way but your own true, deep-seated mental decision, like I don't really want a kid.
Right. And so,
So you guys decided you want to have kids, and you're saying it's partly because of ego and partly because of the genetic drive of the human,
right.
which is you need to propagate the species.
Well, and I think that where you get into trouble, or we got into trouble, is you do have, I had, and I think Darlene had as well, just this fear of what does this mean? Are you ready? Like I said, how are you going to do this properly? And so it took us maybe, I don't know, a couple months of kind of working through that before. It didn't take us too long to say, okay, we're ready.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
So
we're
you
as ready as we're ever going to be.
You guys really thought about it for a while. You really processed and said, should we?
It wasn't a should or shouldn't we. It was about timing.
Okay.
And so that discussion was a couple months, and then it was, we're going to do it. How did you? I mean, so you've had this decision, 5 or 4 times really
Right.
with the twins.
Right.
How did you guys come to this decision?
Well, I know I just talked about fertility, so our story's a little bit different. I got married later too. I think I was 35. My wife was 30. We both come from large families. I'm from a family of 6, and so is she. 6 children each,
Right.
5 siblings. So it seemed like a natural thing. I never gave it a lot of thought. I always knew I was going to have children. Probably for ego, I want more of me.
Right.
And probably for, whatever base genetic reasons of we need this.
Right.
We come from loud, big families, and so it seemed like a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
When we met, we were like, yeah, let's do this. And plus, it makes a deeper bond. We had something to do together, another reason to disagree, which is always awesome. Like, you're not doing it right. So we had our son, Charlie. We had, in my mind, we got married, and my wife went off the pill, and it had been paid for by healthcare. And so, in my mind, I thought, oh, it'll probably take a year before, I thought the body will take a year to clean out.
Right.
In my mind, we'll have the first year together and have a blast. We'll probably travel.
Best laid plan.
Oh, yeah, all that stuff. Within 3 months, we were pregnant.
Yeah.
Never thinking about it, never trying, never
Right.
quote unquote trying. It just boom.
Right.
3 months, less than that. My goodness. Yeah, 2.5 months after we were married, we were pregnant.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, wow, we're going to spend our first year of marriage, pardon me, first year of marriage pregnant. I didn't know that. And that's a big change. Your first year of marriage is a big change anyway. Now throw in first year of marriage and pregnant.
Yeah.
She's having all these chemical changes in her body. It's like,
Right.
wow, this is a lot.
Well, you're now immediately married to a different person.
True.
Yeah.
It's true. I will tell this quick story. I don't know how we're on time and want to try and keep it tight. When my wife was pregnant with Charlie, she gained 70 pounds. And I say this, she got so fat, her nose was fat.
Right. And just for the uninitiated, I think the average is what, maybe 40 pounds?
I don't know. I don't do research.
I believe so. Yeah.
So she nearly doubled that. I would get up every morning and make her breakfast.
Yeah.
I made her 2 eggs and sausage. I think she got to eat healthy. She's got to eat protein. And then I would also make her a smoothie.
Yeah.
Of yogurt and fruit. And then her weight kept going. The doctor said, so tell me about what you're eating. I said, well, I popped up first. I'll answer what she's eating. And I said, I do. She goes, that smoothie is all sugar, right?
Yeah.
You know that. That's where the weight gain's going to be like, sorry. So anyway, we had a perfect pregnancy. Everything went great until about a month before we were supposed to give birth. My wife was spotting, this is not for the queasy. And so we went to the hospital, and they said, oh, okay, you're on bed rest now. So she had been working. She quit working. That night, she gets up in the middle of the night. She goes to the bathroom, and she thought she'd, had to pee, and it was much worse. There was a huge pool of blood and
Right.
stool. So we rushed to the hospital. She had an emergency C-section. Charlie's out. Boom, right away. Everything's great. I went over and took a picture of Charlie. I'm running back to the operating table, and the surgeon, the gynecologist, had this look on her face, and I thought her look was she got caught. And I
Right.
thought, are you stealing something? I swear to God, that's the thing that went through my brain. And it was much worse than that. My wife was bleeding to death because she had a rare thing called placenta accreta. I don't know if you know the story.
No.
And so they worked on her for 3 hours. Placenta
Wow.
accreta means usually the placenta grows up to the uterus and hitches a ride. And when the baby is born, it goes, hey, man, thanks.
Right, I'm outta here,
I
yeah.
got to cut. In placenta accreta, it grows into the uterus and says, hey, man, I'm sticking
here.
around. Why don't you come with me?
Wow.
So she's bleeding to death on the operating table for 3.5 hours, and finally the surgeons are like, we got to take your uterus to save your life, which I thought was a good idea, because let's face it, I'm not going to lose that kid by myself.
Right.
Fellas, no matter, fellas, guys, who's with me? So anyway, Next day, they come to us and like, thank God you're alive, blah blah blah. But good news, you're here, right? And even better news, you can still have your own children because the ovaries are on the outside of the uterus, and they left the ovaries. So what they did then, you talk about decisions to have kids. So a year after, my wife investigated surrogacy. And what happens is you go to an agency. This is one way to do it.
Right.
You go to an agency, you pay them a fee, they match you with potential surrogates. You write your book of why you're a good candidate and why you've come to have a surrogate decision in your life. And then the surrogates look at your book and they go, okay, I'll work with this couple.
Right.
So then you meet at the agency. Then you have a date. You literally go out to eat somewhere. I think we went to Chili's, and I should get a coupon in there. And then we said, okay, let's do it. And so then you go through the process. My wife had to do fertility.
Right.
Ours was a different reason. We had to tell eggs drop now.
Right.
Eggs drop now because there was no, that wasn't, we do fertility shots to increase the amount of eggs or something, and then it comes the day that you go and you harvest the eggs from her ovaries, and at the same time I go to a room and harvest my business. Yes, my business. I'm harvesting my business, and then there's a gal waiting on the other side of the door, so we give her the business, and then they have the eggs and the business, and they put it all together. And that day we made 11 embryos. And from that, we used the first 3, we transferred them to the surrogate, and boom, we got pregnant with our daughter Margot.
Right.
We had a boy and a girl. At that point, Margot was born 10 months later. It's a 10-month gestation, folks, not really knowing where that came from. It's 40 weeks.
Right.
Boom, Margot's born. I'm thinking this is perfect. We have a boy and a girl. We're done. My wife goes, what are you talking about? We have 8 embryos left because they freeze them.
Yeah.
So they froze those embryos, and it's expensive to go through surrogacy.
Right.
It's a lot of money. So you talk about just having a decision to have a child. It's not cavalier in my house.
No, it's definitely not cavalier.
So then 3 years after Margaret was born, we decided to do it again. We thawed out the first group of embryos. There were 4 of them frozen together. We thawed them out. As will happen, they will either naturally keep growing and dividing, or they will fragment, as it's called. That would happen naturally in the womb anyway. So 3 were good. We transferred those into the next surrogate. Boom, we get pregnant. Then find out, wow, something's really high. Oh, we're having twins.
Wow.
So then that was successful. We had boy-girl twins, Sergeant and Audrey. So at this point in my life, we have 2 boys and 2 girls. And folks, if you play cards, that's 2 pair. Right. If you're, I don't care if you play Texas Hold'em or just straight poker, you'd probably see, call, bet, raise on that.
Right.
And so we'd had 4 frozen embryos left, and my wife was thinking, we've got to,
see you raise.
We got to see what to do with that. And I'm like, oh, what do you mean to do with that? We've got 4. We got 2 boys. We're done.
Yeah.
Walk away from the table. And she says, if those are babies, I'm thinking, really? They'll never know. They
Right.
won't. But I thought to myself, I don't want to look. I'm going to be with my wife the rest of my life, and I didn't want to be looking at her 78-year-old eyes and see ghosts of unborn babies.
Right.
So for her birthday a couple years ago, I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do the last one. We don't have any money now. Why should we ever? And so we thawed out the last group of 4. They were there was only 1 viable embryo. Pop that in the surrogate. It's kind of like a toaster oven. You just pop, boom, and we had our daughter Eve.
Wow.
And that's how it happened. That didn't take too much time, but that's the story about how and why we did it.
No, that's a great story.
Because they were there. Now, I don't know what we would have done had we had 36 embryos.
Right.
But for my wife, it was, a spiritual issue of those are babies, we need to give them a chance.
Yeah.
For me, it was less of that. And if my kids ever listen to it, that's the truth. But I'm so glad we did. I'm so glad we went through all this. So we don't have any embryos left, and that's why we have 5 kids. Because people go, 5 kids? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break.
Let's